Hello, welcome on board. I'm Saloni Shukla and I'm a senior physiotherapist at the Heal Institute, and today I will be taking you through the Aditya Birla and Heal Institute Fitness Assessment Training module. So let's have a look at it. The fitness assessment consists of 3 parts: lifestyle questionnaire, health screening, and physical screening. So let's begin. To register and upload the details of Aditya Birla Wellness client, you will need the following: computer with required system and loading and validating Aditya Birla Wellness client data. To perform the physical screening, you need the following: tape measure or stadiometer, weighing scale, blood pressure cuff, metronome set at 96 beats per minute, 30.5 centimeter step, stopwatch, pulse oximeter, goniometer. In the first part, a set of following questions will be asked to the client. Are you currently using high blood pressure medication? Has your doctor ever told you that you have diabetes? Is there a family history of diabetes? Do you exercise? Do you smoke? Do you consume alcohol? Moving to part 2 of the assessment, here we'll be taking certain health measurements. Height, equipment required, tape measure or stadiometer. Client to take off socks and shoes, remove anything from the head of the client. Client to stand on the stadiometer platform with back against the wall and feet together. Measurement to be taken in centimeters. Weight, equipment required, weighing scale. Measurement to be taken without shoes, wallet, belt, etc. Measurement to be taken in kilograms. Waist measurement, equipment required, tape measure. The waist circumference should be measured at the midpoint between the lower margin of the last palpable rib and the top of the iliac crest, using a stretch-resistant tape that provides a constant 100-gram tension. All measurements to be captured in inches in the system. Hip measurement, equipment required, tape measure. Hip circumference should be measured around the widest portion of the buttocks with the tape parallel to the floor. All measurements to be captured in inches in the system. Blood pressure, equipment required, blood pressure cuff. Sit down and open the blood pressure testing kit. If the client's shirt has long or thick sleeves, roll them up first. Raise client's arm to heart level. Elevate client's arm so that when the elbow is bent, it is parallel to the heart. Wrap the cuff around the upper left arm. Make sure the cuff is snug but not too tight. Place the wide head of the stethoscope on the left arm. The edge of the diaphragm should be just beneath the cuff, positioned over the brachial artery. A good method is to hold the head of the stethoscope in place with your index finger and middle fingers. Take the rubber bulb and tighten the valve. The valve needs to be closed completely before you start. Inflate the cuff. Rapidly pump the bulb to inflate the cuff. Keep pumping until the needle on the gauge reaches 180 mm Hg. Release the valve. Gently turn the valve on the bulb counterclockwise so that the air in the cuff is released steadily, but at a slow pace. Keep an eye on the gauge for best accuracy. The needle should be moving downwards at a rate of 3 mm per second. Note the systolic blood pressure. As the pressure drops, use the stethoscope to listen for a thumping or knocking sound. When you hear the first thump, make a note of the pressure on the gauge. This is the systolic blood pressure. This needs to be recorded in the system. To note the diastolic blood pressure, listen to the thumping sounds while using the stethoscope. Eventually, the hard thumping noises will turn into a whooshing sound. As soon as the whooshing sounds subside, make a note of the pressure. This is the diastolic blood pressure. This needs to be recorded in the system. Here we end with part 2 of assessment. Let's move on to part 3, which is physical screening. Starting with straight leg raise test. Equipment required: goniometer. Client to lie down on his or her back on an examination table by keeping the legs straight. The fitness coach to lift the client's leg while the knee is kept straight. The leg is lifted by hip flexion movement until the client complains of pain in leg or back. The reading has to be taken using a goniometer and has to be entered in the system. Shoulder flexion test. Equipment required: goniometer. Client to lie on the floor or a bed with flexed knee. Position the axis of the goniometer 2 cm below the acromion process of scapula. Place the movable arm of the goniometer along the humerus and the fixed arm pointed at the floor. Instruct the client to keep their arm straight and to raise it forward and overhead as high as possible. Move the movable arm of the goniometer along with the humerus. The reading has to be taken using a goniometer and has to be entered in the system. 3-minute step test. Equipment required: 30.5 cm step, stopwatch, pulse oximeter, metronome set at 96 beats per minute. Blood pressure needs to be taken before the test and recorded. Set the metronome to 96 beats per minute and make sure you can hear the beat. Use a pulse oximeter on the index finger. Stand facing the step. When ready to begin, start the clock or stopwatch and march up and down on the step to the metronome beat for 3 consecutive minutes. When 3 minutes are up, stop immediately. Sit down on the step and count your pulse for 1 full minute. If pulse oximeter is worn, record the client's heart rate 1 minute after the client has sat down. Then record the score. Blood pressure needs to be taken after the test and be recorded. I hope you understood the steps of this fitness assessment. For further queries, you can contact us via email or phone. Thank you for watching this video.